How do we stop absorbing other people's energy? We immerse ourselves in our own energy. The reason so many of us become identified as empaths is because we have created this identity in order to survive. We have grown up in an environment or with caregivers where we are hypervigilant. Maybe we don't know what to expect from them, and so we learn to attune ourselves and attune our perception and our sensitivity outwards. Is this person's words matching their actions? Are their thoughts meeting their words? Is their body language saying something their words aren't? Are their facial expressions telling me something? Is there something to be said between the lines that's not being expressed? We get extremely good at becoming sensitive to other people's thoughts, feelings, emotions, behaviors, and actions. And this is all an attempt to survive the environment which we grew up in. It breeds hypervigilance. If I can anticipate what this person is going to do or what this person needs from me, I can keep myself safe, or I am more likely to keep myself safe. We start to tune into everything that is happening around us, and because we are doing this, our energy is dispersed. And we gain our sense of safety from this identity, and we also start to gain our sense of value from this identity. How useful am I? How helpful am I? How adaptive am I? How resilient am I? And how can I make this person's experience less difficult? How can I help this person? It all becomes about the other person. And so we miss our center. When we are placing so much value in the needs and the wants and the preferences and the thoughts and the emotions of another person, we are constantly abandoning our own needs, wants, and preferences. And we are rejecting our own inherent value and trying to find it in our usefulness. We place our value with our usefulness. And so often as empaths, we have no idea who we are because our energy is so scattered, it is so dispersed. And because it is so dispersed, we often experience anxiety because we're not inhabiting ourselves. We are constantly outreaching and outsourcing to other people. And so we have no center. We often do not know what our needs are, what our wants are, what our gifts and preferences and values are, because we're so busy seeing to all of those things in other people. And then we have this experience where we can flip between two extremes. On the one side, we might completely isolate ourselves and avoid going to busy places or being around people because we feel so drained because our energy is just constantly outpouring in order to read everybody else. And then on the flip side, we are completely overcompensatory. So we spend time around people, we spend time with people, and everything is given to them. Both of these things are out of alignment, both of these things are out of balance, and both of these things are draining. Because there's an element of having a lack of self-worth because we do not know our own value when we are not expending it on helping other people, of being useful, of being a good listener, of finding solutions for X, Y, Z. And this is how we fall off of our own path, because we're not in alignment with ourselves. If we're so busy seeing to the needs of everybody else, we often find that we don't have a reciprocal relationship with that person. We are holding so much of the emotional weight. There is an asymmetry to the relationship. And so we feel even less valuable, even less worthy. Because I'm giving. I have nothing for myself, and maybe it's not even appreciated. It's not even seen, it's not even known. The only things are highlighted are when I'm not giving, or when I'm not listening, which is very rare. And so, in order to stop absorbing the energy of other people, we have to inhabit our own energy. And some of the ways that we can start doing this is, one, to stop interrupting yourself. How many times have you been doing something and a friend or a relative calls you on the phone, you look at the phone ringing, and you just know that this is going to be an hour-long conversation about all their problems. You've heard all of these problems before, you've given sound advice for these problems, and you're not going to be able to get off the phone until they've repeated them another 100 times to you, and you're going to give the same advice. They probably won't take it. And you've interrupted what it is you were doing, even if it is something mundane like doing your laundry, or you're just about to do your food shopping, whatever it is. You have interrupted your needs and your life in order to tend to the needs and the emotions of somebody else. Stop doing that. You are not responsible for anyone else's emotions or problems. And one of the things that I used to worry about not interrupting myself and not dropping everything to go help somebody else was that I thought I would lose my kindness. I thought I would be seen as somebody who wasn't kind or wasn't caring or loving or any of those things. And I'm here to tell you that that does not happen. If you identify as an empath, it was built in distortion. It is a survival mechanism. And once you start to draw your energy back towards yourself and start to recognize your own needs, wants, desires, gifts, value, you do not lose your kindness. You just become more fully involved in your life. You inhabit your life rather than being an energy source for everybody else's. The kindness remains. Some other people who grow up in that same environment don't become empaths. They don't create that survival mechanism. They might harden, they might become narcissistic or totally selfish and not give any time of day to anybody and not be able to perceive anybody's emotions or body language or facial expressions. It's a difference in adaptation. By the very fact that you have created the adaptation that you have in terms of becoming an empath, it's just credence to the fact that you have a kind heart by nature. Arguably everybody has a kind heart by nature, but you have created that whole identity so that you can keep your kindness and your heart. It's just been put into a distorted identity. So the first thing was to stop interrupting yourself. If you don't have time to pick up the call, don't pick up the call. If you don't have time to have the conversation, don't have the conversation. If you don't have time to do somebody this favor, don't do them this favor. And this leads on to understanding what your yes is and what your no is. And again, this comes back to inhabiting your body, immersing yourself in your own energy. Somebody asks you to do something, you take a moment and you feel into whether that is something you actually want to do. Is it something you have time or energy or inclination for? Because I promise you, if you do not have the time, energy or inclination, they will either find somebody else to help them with what they need, or they will figure it out themselves. Because you're not responsible for anybody else's problems or emotions or needs or wants. You're responsible for your own. And the more you stop betraying your own needs, your own wants, your own preferences, the more and more you are going to inhabit your body. The more you inhabit your body, the more you feel your own space. And the more you feel your own space, the less you absorb other people's energy. You stop judging yourself or criticizing yourself for not doing the thing that you are in tune with. Somebody's saying they need help, you can feel they need help, you feel like you want to outpour yourself to help them, but you've got something else to do, or you've got somewhere else to be. You recognize that within yourself, and there you can feel the separation between who you are and who they are, and you value your own needs before theirs. This is not some kind of narcissistic attitude. Like I said, you don't lose your kindness. You just start to honor yourself in the same way that you've been honoring everybody else for probably your whole life. So we stop interrupting ourselves, we start tuning into our body so we can feel what a yes and no feels like. And then obviously we start saying no or yes to the things that we feel are for us, and then becoming more inhabited in your body. When we have a dispersed energy, we're often feeling anxiety. Anxiety literally is a dispersion of energy, right? It's energy which is not consolidated into your physical body and your energetic field. And we can sometimes start to feel anxiety when we practice not interrupting ourselves and feeling into our yes and no's, because we start judging ourselves as not being kind or not being helpful. But the more you can bring your attention into your body, the more your energy field consolidates into your own individuality. Because your individuality is just as precious and just as valuable as anybody else's. One of the best ways I found to do this was yoga nidra, the practice that literally talks you through every single part of your body, so that you can literally feel the energy in the parts of your body as well. Once you can feel the energy in your body, it's like it's drawing it back into your energy field as well. That's why you can feel it. Another thing you can do is to literally feel the energy in your hands. And this is a good one because you can literally do it any time of day without taking time out to do a meditation. The palms of your hands and the soles of your feet are where our primary meridians all start and end. And so there's a lot of energy in both these places. If I say to you right now, put your attention into the soles of your feet, you can feel the soles of your feet. You should start to feel them tingling. And this is energy essentially reconsolidating in your body. Another thing that was really important for me is to get into my physical body. So I really started to feel the separation between who I am and who other people's are, or what their energy is doing, the more time I spent in my body. When my daughter moved out to go to college in September, she's got profound special needs. She is 19 now, and I've obviously been caring for all of those needs in that 19 years. And my nervous system collapsed. It was almost like a post-traumatic stress, like the whole body just sort of decompressed. It was like everything that had been held onto for that time period and then prior in my childhood suddenly had the space to process. I lost a lot of my hair and I was extremely tired all the time. Once I got more life force back, once that process sort of started to complete, I had this real intuitive impulse. I just wanted to be in my body. And I had the luxury of time and space. So I would spend 3, 4, 5 hours at the gym every single day, doing a mix of tennis, Pilates, yoga, and strength and conditioning classes. Things that were directed. I didn't have that same inkling to do the weights because I wanted to be essentially guided into my body repeatedly. And the more and more I got into my body, and the more I was meditating, and the more I was not interrupting myself and not saying yes to things I wanted to say no to, the less and less anxiety I felt, and the more and more I started to feel more space, like I could feel more energy literally in my body. The strength of energy in my hands increased, the strength of energy in my entire body increased. Another thing we can do if, again, you don't have 3 to 5 hours a day to get into your body, I must say it is so important to get into your body. I cannot stress enough how dispersed we are, how much overthinking we do, how much energy and life force and attention and awareness we expend on other people when we are identified as an empath and finding our value in how useful and helpful we are to others. It's insane how much life force returns to you when you start inhabiting your body, and how much quieter the mind becomes. But if you don't have that time to spend, do spend some time every day doing a physical activity, even if it's just walking in nature. But another thing we can do is lying on the floor for 5 minutes. So in yoga, this is obviously called dead man's pose, right? Savasana. The reason it's called dead man's pose is because it's releasing the identity to the old, to the part of you that no longer needs to survive, doesn't need to come with you. It's like a reset position. Let go of everything that's old and reconsolidate the essence of who you are. So even just 5 minutes, if you're somebody who works the 9 to 5, get home before you do anything else, before you scroll on TikTok or turn the TV on or whatever else it is, just lay down on the floor, set your timer for 5 minutes, and just feel yourself against the floor. Your mind might still be chirping around. You might want to shuffle and fidget if you've got that anxious energy. But just doing that every day, even if it's just 5 minutes to yourself, will start to draw your energy back into your body. And then the next thing is to find out what you like. Find out how you want to spend your time. When we spend so much of our time either in the isolation phase or the overextending phase, where are we in that? When we're isolating, we're usually doing something that is nullifying. We want to nullify the anxiety and the overextension. And then when we're around people, we are overextending, sending our energy out. I once went into an acupuncturist a number of years ago, and when he asked me, how he could help me, what I was there for, I literally said, I don't know who I am when I'm not in relationship to other people. I had no idea who I was. Where do I like to go? What do I like to do? What music do I even like to listen to? I was never somebody who would put on my playlist because I didn't want somebody to dislike it. For their uncomfort, not for mine. And so immersing yourself in your own energy is just reconnecting with what actually do I like to do that isn't part of the numbing activities that I have acquired to try and dampen down my experience, like the TV, the scrolling, the etc. What do I actually like to do? And we can often find that things we used to like to do around the ages of 5 or 6 are often something we have those natural inclinations towards, and are often something that, if not the same activity, they have the seeds of our preferences, things that we naturally like to spend time on. And then there was something else. So we've got not interrupting, saying no, getting into your body, finding out what you like. Oh yeah, there's one other practice that we can do, because you have no center. Okay, there's an acupuncture point here which is called the middle chamber, if I remember rightly, and it is literally the middle point between the top and bottom of your torso. It is your central point, and it is related to your center, and I imagine it's probably the solar plexus chakra if you adhere to that framework. You can literally put your hand on this area and imagine a golden ball of light underneath your palm, and you're already feeling the energy of your palm because we know how to do that now. And breathing in and out and just consolidating that golden light energy into this space, and breathing in and out from this space. And again, you can do this pretty much anywhere you are, right? And when we're breathing in, it's a consolidation of this golden light energy. And then when we're breathing out, you can imagine like concentric circles, waves of energy of that golden light moving to your extremity. And it builds like a border of that same golden light in the circumference of your energy field. And then when you breathe back in again, take that same golden light from the border and bring the waves back into the center. So it's like these concentric, don't know, circles that are being pulled in and out and in and out. It's basically you consolidating your energy field. And if you can do this with your intention, your breath, and your visualization, you should really start to feel the difference. It made me breathless because sometimes I still outsource my energy, right? And yeah, those are like 5 dominant things you can work on. But how can you stop absorbing people's energy? You really have to start immersing yourself into your own energy, because these qualities that have been distorted into an identity of being an empath are like phenomenal qualities, right? We are highly sensitive, we are highly attuned, we are highly perceptive, we are usually highly intuitive. Imagine if you're directing all of those gifts. Firstly, that there's 4 of your values right there, 4 things that you have that are extremely valuable that not everybody has. But imagine taking those superpowers, essentially, and instead of constantly sending them outwards, directing them in towards yourself. There's so much power in sensitivity, in attunement, in intuition, in perception. Building your awareness to build your presence, to dissolve your ego and your acquired self so that you can return to the more fundamental essence of who you are, is a question of awareness. If you are highly perceptive, you have a huge capacity for awareness. It's just that you're giving it to every man and their dog rather than yourself. We can turn it in, we can start shining it in and seeing the dark parts of ourselves that we need to dissolve to become the best version of ourselves, to become the more, I'd like to say, more natural version of ourselves. Because our essence is awareness that has been covered over by layers of defensive mechanisms, essentially, and acquired identities. So the more we can turn this in on ourselves, the more we can feel sensations in our body. So that anxiety, for example, you can sit with that anxiety and it can start to complete itself. Like so often we feel anxious and we find something in which to avoid that anxiety. And this comes back to the numbing behaviours, right? The TV, the scrolling, the rubbish food, the whatever, some drinking alcohol, whatever it is. The more we can attune ourselves to ourselves, put our perception, our awareness, our sensitivity, our intuition into ourselves, the more we can sit with those sensations that are residue of defensive mechanisms, of trauma, of suffering, the more we can allow them to complete. We see them, we recognize them, just like we see and recognize everybody else's bloody emotions and facial expressions and everything else. And in that recognition, they start to, I keep saying complete themselves, but that basically means they're seen. They're seen with awareness, they're felt with awareness, they're experienced with awareness. And so they can't continue to be the driving force, the shadow selves, the traumatic, distorted self, because we're with them with awareness. It creates this space with which they can complete themselves. I keep saying the same word. They finish, basically, because they no longer become who you are. So it's not like, oh my God, I'm so anxious, anxiety is happening, oh my God, I'm so anxious, let me drink a drink, let me smoke a cigarette, let me scroll TikTok. It becomes, oh, this sensation is here, this shaking is here, this feeling in my gut is here, the middle chamber. And we are able to detach ourselves from it because of that perception and attunement and intuition and sensitivity. And with that detachment, we are no longer identified with it. And that is what I mean by completed. So it can no longer run us, because it will pop up again and we'll be like, oh yeah, that's that thing. That thing that belongs to this old experience that I had. I hope that was helpful. Turn your superpowers in towards yourself, because you deserve to live your life fully and completely and inhabiting your own body, your own space, your own gifts, your own values, your own preferences, your own needs, your own wants, because they matter too. They matter more than somebody else's.